In 2004, California voters approved a state reserve fund to save money when the economy is good and then use that money to help prevent spending cuts when the economy slows. Due to ongoing economic challenges, the current balance in this reserve fund is zero. Prop 1A would put more money into the state budget reserve and place limits on how it can be spent. Funds would come in part by extending the temporary tax increases of the February 2009 budget agreement. Supporters, including Budget Reform Now, a coalition which represents, among others, California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Democratic leadership of the state legislature, and the California Chamber of Commerce, say that Prop 1A would keep our state moving forward with new, better rules that will create more responsible and balanced budgets. Also, they say with Prop 1A, we can plan better with more predictable budgets. Opponents, including the Consumer Federation of California, the California Nurses Association, and the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, say Prop 1A asks taxpayers to foot the bill for more state spending by making the tax increases last longer. They argue Prop 1A sets too strict of a spending limit, which could force service cuts even in good times and could encourage new tax increases. Opponents also assert Prop 1A was written behind closed doors with no public hearings or independent analysis. For more information on Prop 1A, visit easyvoter.org. In 1988, voters approved minimum funding guarantees for K-12 schools and community colleges. In some years, the state may fund schools at a lower amount, but the state then has to make additional payments in future years to make up the difference. State funding for schools has been reduced due to the bad economy. Prop 1B would require the state to pay K-12 schools and community colleges $9.3 billion to make up for the lower funding levels over the last 2 years. The state will not, however, be required to pay the $9.3 billion if voters turn down Prop 1A, a related measure. Supporters, including Budget Reform Now, a coalition which represents, among others, California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Democratic leadership of the state legislature, and the California Teachers Association, say Prop 1B is a way to continue giving schools the minimum funding voters passed by previous measures, and that Prop 1B is needed to restore funding and keep public education a top priority in California. Opponents, including the California Nurses Association and the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, State Council, point out that Prop 1B requires voters to also pass the increased taxes in Prop 1A, and that although our schools need serious reforms to get better results, spending more money without reforms will not be effective. For more information on Prop 1B, visit easyvoter.org. In 1984, the state lottery was created by voter approval. Currently, all state lottery profits, about 34 cents of every $1 ticket sold, goes to public education. Lottery profits only provide about 1% of the total funding for K-12 schools. Current law limits prizes to 50% of ticket sales. Under Prop 1C, profits from the lottery would stop going to education. Instead, the same level of support would come from the state general fund. The state would be allowed to borrow money and use future lottery profits to pay off the debt. Also under 1C, lottery prizes could exceed 50% of ticket sales, and expenses would be limited to 13% versus 16% now. These changes are expected to generate higher lottery sales and profits. Supporters, including Budget Reform Now, a coalition which represents, among others, California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Democratic leadership of the state legislature, and the California State PTA say 1C is a way to help close the budget gap and keep our commitments to schools, and that upgrading the lottery and allowing the state to sell lottery bonds may reduce the need for higher taxes. Opponents, including the California Nurses Association, the California Federation of Teachers, and the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, State Council, say 1C is a one-time fix and an irresponsible way to face our budget challenges. These are unrealistic expectations on how much money the state lottery can make over the long term. For more information on Prop 1C, visit easyvoter.org. In 1998, Californians voted to increase the state tobacco tax to fund programs for children up to age 5 and their families through the first 5 commissions. The first 5 commissions, not the legislature, controls spending on these programs, and as of June 30th, 2008, the commissions had about $2.5 billion in unspent funds. Prop 1D would take some first 5 funds and use them to replace general fund spending on state programs for children up to age 5, such as foster care, health care, preschool, and child care. Supporters, including Budget Reform Now, a coalition which represents, among others, California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Democratic leadership of the state legislature, and the California Latino Child Development Association, say Prop 1D will help to prevent deep cuts in essential health and social services, and that 1D protects at-risk children while helping to close the enormous state budget gap. Opponents, including the California Nurses Association, the California Federation of Teachers, and the California Family Resource Association, say Prop 1D lets the state take locally controlled funds to help fix their own mess, and that 1D would cut effective preschool programs that are key to long-term success in school. For more information on Prop 1D, visit easyvoter.org. In 1990, voters approved a state commission to set salaries and benefits for legislators, the governor, and other state elected officials. Current salaries range from $116,000 for most legislators to $212,000 for the governor. Since 2000, the salaries of these officials have increased at the rate of inflation or less. Prop 1F would prevent state elected officials from getting pay raises in years when state income falls short of state spending by 1% or more. Supporters, including Budget Reform Now, a coalition which represents, among others, California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Democratic leadership of the state legislature, and the National Tax Limitation Committee, say when the economy is bad, most people don't get pay raises, and neither should state elected officials. Additionally, they assert Prop 1F encourages balancing the state budget. Opponents, including the California Nurses Association, California Federation of Teachers, and the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, State Council, say withholding pay raises will not get the legislators to agree on the budget, and that 1F also freezes salaries for the Secretary of State, Attorney General, and others who are not involved in the budget process. For more information on Prop 1F, visit easyvoter.org.